Hey everybody, Kneecap here. This video is about flying in Legion. So first I'm going to kind of break down what you're going to need to do to unlock flying in Legion in 7.2, and then I'm going to kind of give my opinion and thoughts about flying in Legion and in the Broken Isles. So as of right now, you can only get half of the achievement that you need to unlock flying in the Broken Isles. And the achievement title is Broken Isles Pathfinder Part 1. The good news is, if you've been playing constantly since the beginning of the patch, you most likely have this done already, even if you weren't really trying to, or you're probably really close to having it done. So to get to Part 1, you're going to have multiple steps of things you need to do. First is the achievement, A Glorious Campaign. You have to work your way through Class Order Hall, completing it. So that's just completing your Class Order Hall campaign, and once you do that, you'll get that part of the achievement. The next part is Broken Isles Diplomat, and that is hitting Revered with every faction. So that's Court of Frondis, Dreamweavers, High Mountain, Nightfallen, Wardens, and Valajar. Once you become Revered, not Exalted with all of those, you get Broken Isles Diplomat. Next is Broken Isles Explorer. So you just have to explore all the different zones. There's a few places that you might not have explored, but there's add-ons that can help you with that. Or you can just kind of look up where this zone is. Chances are, if you're having trouble finding it, some other person did as well. Next would be Lore Master of Legion, which is basically having to complete the storyline in each zone. Now, if you started right when the game started and like everyone else, you had to kind of grind your way up, then you probably did this. You probably had them all, and then maybe still weren't 110. But if you didn't, you're gonna have to go through and complete the storylines, the actual quest storylines, and Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Azuna, Matata. I mean, the names of them aren't really that important. Next is the most important one, though, I should state, is Good Samaritan. So you need to complete the Suramar quest line if you haven't done that yet. A lot of people stopped at some point once they didn't really need it anymore, especially if they got exalted or whatever. You do need to finish Suramar as well. Variety is a spice of life. You have to complete 100 different world quests, and that's literally 100 different ones, not the same one. And obviously, so just start doing world quests that you haven't done yet, and you'll get done with that. Variety is a spice of life. So that's what you can have done so far. You can have all that done already, and you should probably try to get that done before 7.2 comes out, so that way you can just kind of worry about 7.2 if you are interested in flying. So once 7.2 comes out and we go to Argus, Broken Isles Pathfinder Part 2 achievement will become available. Now to do this, you're going to have to get 4 or 5, well, let's see, Broken Isles Pathfinder Part 1. Okay, so you're going to have 4 new achievements to get done once 7.2 pops up. So one's going to be Breaching the Tomb. It's going to be basically involve the Tomb of Sargeras, the next raid. So you're going to run a new dungeon that comes out, and that'll kind of like set you on your path to going to this tomb, and that'll kind of set you on the path of completing that part of it. You also need Defender of the Broken Isles. Basically, it's going to continue your Order Hall storyline, so you'll have a little bit more stuff to do in your Order Hall. The next thing is to explore the Broken Shore. That's just exploring the Broken Shore, which you already see, but I'm guessing they're going to actually give names to the different parts of the Broken Shore, and they'll actually be able to get an achievement to explore it. And lastly, we have Legion Commander. It's a new faction that comes out, and it involves, battling Argus, and you have to hit Exalted with them. So it's not going to be 7.2 hits and you get this. You're going to have to wait a while. You're going to have to wait till the raid comes out. You're going to have to wait till you grind to Exalted as well. So it'll be one of those things where people will start flying probably once normal progression guilds, not like high-end ones, are like starting to clear Heroic or and things like that. That'll probably be about when people are hitting Exalted and being able to get this achievement done. To my knowledge, I mean, maybe there's a way to do the rep super fast. I'm not sure, but that's what you need to do. It's a lot, especially if you like I said, if you don't have a lot of that step 1 done yet, it's going to be a lot of work, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. If you were kind of late coming to the game, again, you're really going to want to start on Part 1 right now. Otherwise, you're going to be way behind. Other than that, I guess now I'll go into my thoughts on it. So when one of the first videos I ever did, since I started this channel for Legion, was about the things that I liked most about Legion. And one of the things I liked most was that there was no flying. So this could, you know, for one, this definitely is something that, it might appear on the outside that I'm not a big fan of. Now, I think what they've done with the whole Flight Master's whistle, there's flight paths, a good amount of them, nearly everywhere. You have different, you still have goblin gliders you can use. You have the toy kite that you can get. There's a bunch of ways to get around pretty easily, and it's just the zones aren't that big, or at least between flight paths. The flight paths are spaced out pretty well, so I don't think it's necessary. And I think that World PvP has been really great. So if you are in a PvP server, because of no flying, once there's flying, you can pretty much just get away all the time, and it kind of takes away any kind of battling or hashing it out between two people or a lot of people. That all being said, there are PvE servers, so that can completely wipe out the World PvP component. And it's one of those things where everyone, at least everyone who's like really serious about World of Warcraft, has kind of explored and done everything by now. And if you haven't, you're going to have to do it to get the flying anyways. And so you're not really going to be missing out on a lot of the storyline or content, basically none of it. So I'm not that against the flying. It's again coming towards the end of an expansion. A lot of people think this is going to be the last raid. I personally think there'll be one more after this Argus 7.2. I think they'll be at 7.3 or 7.25 maybe. That's my personal opinion. So it is coming towards the end of the expansion, which is nice. It was just like in Draenor, which I agreed with that as well. So I'm all for it. If you're like me, you have a lot of really cool flying mounts too, and it's nice to actually be able to use them every once in a while. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I go weeks without using a flying mount because I don't go to Stormwind or Ironforge or whatever unless I need to go to the auction house, really. So, and even then, sometimes I forget, so I just run on my mount to the auction house and then go back to the Broken Isle. So, uh, it'll be nice to kind of use some of your flying mounts. Like, obviously, you can run on the ground on your dragons and stuff, but to me, that looks silly, so I don't. I use ground mounts while I'm in the Broken Isles, or a ground mount, or a flying mount that looks like a ground mount, not something that doesn't have wings and things like that. So, it'll be nice to kind of use some of my cool mounts. I got a Nixia mount, that back in the day. Not that far back in the day, but kind of cool to use those again. So I am looking forward to that. I like that you have to have all the content done as well. That's really important to me. I know that's really important to the Warcraft devs because they comment on that a lot. So yeah, I'm all for it, and hopefully, I know on the other side of it though, some people are going to think this is too much stuff to do, which I understand. If you came into the game late, this might feel a little bit overwhelming. I know in Warlords, I had a buddy who came to Warlords late, and he never unlocked his flying because it was just too much for him to feel like he had to do. I mean, this is something that a lot of us have done over months, especially that part one, obviously. We've been working on that since the game started. So if you came in a couple months late, you might be a couple months behind other people, So I totally get if you do think it's overwhelming or it should be like easier thing to get. And on the other side of it, I totally get if you think there shouldn't be flying because I see that side of it as well. Overall, I think it's a good change, and it won't hurt any, and it'll be nice to get to the Broken Shore as well because you won't have to stack up on Goblin Gliders and glide down to it. You'll be able to just fly there real quick, and I doubt there'll be really any flight paths there. Maybe I'm sure they'll put one in or maybe two obligatory flight paths, but that'll probably be nice to have as well. But that's about it for this video. If you've watched this far, please thumbs up, sub, comment below, and everyone have a good one.